last bass to the last band with funk.
Episode 126 of Amari Purple Talk, the podcast that discusses Prince-related artists, music, videos, everything in the purple world of the purple musical singularity. I'm Richard Cole, and joining me on this episode is the bass player extraordinaire, the man on the bass, Mr. Ricky Wyatt. Welcome to the show, bro.
Hey man, what's up? Thanks for having me. Long time coming.
I know, yeah. We've been talking about this for a while.
Yeah, long time coming. Happy to be here, man.
Yeah, cool. Like I said, I was saying earlier, freedom's a beautiful thing. I got the free time where I can start connecting with folks and
okay.
having folks on the show, and
yeah, that's what's up, man.
Taking it to the next level.
Glad to be here.
Cool. Welcome. All right, so we're going to dive in, talk about our first topic. And the first topic, we're just going to talk about the sneak preview that's found in the paperback edition of, hold up, let me get the cover because it's a long one.
Long one.
Yeah. Prince and the Parade and Sign of the Times era studio sessions, 1985 to 1986.
Okay.
This is a book that came out in hardback. It was about a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. Last year I bought the hardback. Actually got a sneak preview.
Okay.
In order to do a review, but I still, dropped my purple croutons and bought the hardback, about the physical
croutons. Yeah.
So bought it, read it, did a couple of episodes on it last year. And then we find out on the Podcast Juice program that Dwayne was dropping the paperback with a bonus, the sneak preview to the next book, which will cover the Black Album and Love Sexy, everything that was done from 1987 to 1988.
Okay.
And I had a chance to read those few pages. And I mean, it is a few pages, but what that dude did in a 3-day span.
Most people didn't do it in a career.
Thank you. Yeah. I mean, we got I Know and Positivity actually recorded the same day.
Wow. Okay.
Yep. I Know with the band, and then the band left, and then he did Positivity all by himself in the studio. Okay. And then the next week, the next day, you had Dance On.
What? Okay.
Yeah, well, I got to get the book. I mean, there's so much that was done in just a few pages.
Man, shout out to Dwayne for all his research and work.
Yeah.
On that, man, and I'm glad that he decided to do a third installment.
Yeah.
Which which is fantastic because I guess like you mentioned earlier, before we started, feels like a trilogy now.
Yeah.
And so this is I can't wait. I don't have the paperback, you know what I'm saying? But I am looking forward to seeing, like when that drops and unfolds. But that's gonna be a page turner, like all the others have been. So
yeah. And like you say, much respect to the Purple Rain era sessions, this paperback. And you're right, it does. It feels like a Star Wars trilogy. It started, this is the Luke Skywalker, Han Solo, Darth Vader.
Yeah. It definitely does seem like that. I know, like we were joking, talking about it's kind of following the Star Wars path line too, starting in the middle.
Yeah.
The beginning. But
I say it's gonna be funny if he does do that. Like the fourth book would be the For You and Prince sessions.
Yeah, it would be good if all those people that I guess involved would make themselves available you know, kind of share that, you know, like recollection or like whatnot. I'm sure Andre would love to kind of shed some light
Yeah.
on those things and those sessions, man. And like, you know, so I know it's just a matter of kind of having the time to kind of sit down and, you know, piece all those things together. 'Cause that's a lot,
Oh
you
yeah.
know.
Yeah. I mean, Dwayne, he puts a lot of work into each book.
Yeah, he does, man. And say, you know, and I guess that's probably the, you know, the thing that makes him so special is that you can tell is like intricate details of of like certain things and not just tabloid gossipy type, you know, things that would kind of sell it, but you know, it's kind of like, you know, some very intricate stuff that makes it, you know, go along with just, you know, each book says studio sessions, just the little other
Yeah.
pieces that make it work. And so, you know, shout out to Dwayne, man, for that. But you know, yeah, it would be cool if they would, if you know, he would flip it and do a for you to like controversy or something, a dirty mind type thing. So
Yeah. True. I know, and there's some folks out there that's probably like, no, I want to start with musicology. I want that.
yeah. Well, man, say, you know, in a perfect world, I mean, you know, I think we all would want, hey, look, do one for every era.
Yeah.
you know, and hopefully, you know, like hopefully Dwayne gets some help. Say, some, you know, some writers out there, you know, some, you know, like researchers and whatnot, you know. I'm sure he, I'm sure he definitely wouldn't mind the assistance in doing some of these things, man. And so, you know, like that is the, I think we all deep down kind of have that, like, hey, you know, it would be cool if we did this for every era.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. I hope so. Well, I would say even if it doesn't cover every single one,
mhm.
like, you know, the albums as far as the 80s, they are kind of milestones,
Yeah,
you know. And even if you did like earlier, you got still got Dirty Mind, Controversy,
right.
Time Sessions, Vanity Six Sessions.
Yeah. Well,
But
man, yes, you know,
uh,
like, I I think it's fair to say as you know, all of us who are really, you know, Prince fans, like we want to know everything.
yeah,
Like we want to hear everything. We want to hear the demos. We want to hear the outtakes. We want to hear, you know, we want to know all that. So I guess as much information as we could get that would make us feel, you know, closer to him and the music and what happened. And, you know, we welcome
oh
it.
yeah, yeah.
you
And
know,
I'll say what sets these volumes apart from other Prince books, and there are some pretty good Prince biographies that are out there, but
yeah,
what sets this set apart from everything else is it's not just a textbook, you know, where
right. Yeah.
other books about recording sessions, it's about, yeah, the band showed up this day or this artist showed up that day, you know, they put the EQ on it, they put this effect, or they invented this special effect.
Mhm.
And
Yeah.
it's not really a lot of stories behind the sessions, you know, maybe one or two anecdotes depending on the
Right.
day.
Yep.
But this, because music was so much a part of Prince's life, and Prince's life was wrapped up into the music, that I would say, especially with the Parade book, you do get more of a narrative.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is more of a narrative. There's a beginning, middle, and end. Even Purple Rain had a beginning, middle, and end.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, you know, shout out to Dwayne for that because he kind of, I think he set it up that way, you know, to kind of
Right.
tell the story. And they do a good job of that. And then, yeah, you're right. So, you know, I mean, it is a narrative, and that's and that is the cool thing about it. So,
Yeah.
man, I hope they continue that.
Yeah, I hope so too. I'm anxious. I'm hyped.
Yeah, plus, you know, I think it'll be, you know, it's always good to you know, I guess for those of us who have been on the train a lot longer than others, you know, and say we kind of grew up through these eras, it's good to kind of take that trip down memory lane.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I remember in summer 86, you know, like what I was doing, or, you know what I'm saying? Oh, like they were doing this and this was going on, you know, like all the other stuff you kind of remember. And so,
Mm.
um, like, you know, and of course, you know, like with any artist, you know, certain pieces of their work get highlighted more than others.
Mm.
And I think with the Love Sexy one, you know, it doesn't get as highlighted as much as you know, the previous works,
Yeah.
you know, does. And so like this is going to kind of shed some light into that. So I know our cohorts like D'Angela and Harold and all the other love sexy enthusiasts are going to be, you know, just salivating, waiting for this, you know. But like, you know, it would shed some light on an era that, you know, like when you think about it, outside, I mean, you know, very rarely after that period did you hear him do like love sexy songs live. It was like very, you know, very few, you know, like you saw Anastasia came about, you know, for the One Night Alone shows, but that was like years after.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah, that's
you know,
12, yeah, over a dozen years later.
Yeah, you know, Alphabet Street may have surfaced every now and then, you know, for like acoustic settings or something like that. But you know, like you really didn't hear too much of that. You know, once that era had kind of moved on, he really didn't revisit that catalog, you know, like that. You know, which is to say, like you know, I mean, say I know it meant something to him personally, so like that could have a reason why. But you know, like this. You know, like I guess having a book on that and kind of what those songs meant and those things like that will help shed some light into that, and you know, maybe give people a better appreciation, you know, for that era.
Oh yeah, and I mean, I enjoyed it. You know, kind of looking back on it, because I got the Black album the same day that I got Love Sexy.
Okay.
A friend of mine had the bootleg cassette, got me a copy.
Okay. Okay.
And so to me, those albums are kind of volume 1, volume 2.
Volume 2. Yep. Exactly. Yeah. 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 Well, I mean, you know, so that's one of those things where like if you were kind of around during that time, kind of coming up, you know, if you got like Love Sexy at some point, you know, you had that itching to, well, I gotta get this Black album to hear, you know, what this hoopla is like about. And so like, you know, when you listen to them or like when you get it, it's almost like you can't listen to one now without the other.
Right.
You know, and so that's going to be, you know, I'm actually, I mean, as you brought that up, I am kind of looking forward to seeing how that plays in the book, you know, like what's said about the Black album and, you know, just that whole period and then the cancellation of that going into Love Sexy. So that's going to be a very interesting read. But again, I mean, you know, that is a very important piece in Prince's puzzle.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
You know,
there's a lot of turning points in his life and career, and that was definitely one of the, I would say, you know, maybe for him because of the way he was inspired to do Love Sexy, maybe it was kind of a high point, but you know, you kind of had to have that low point as a catalyst.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly. And it's, you know, like you remember, you know, man, for those of us growing up, you know, during that time, it was like we heard about the Black album. It was like, yeah, it got canceled. And we were like, oh. And then Love Sexy comes out. And then like you're kind of left with this, there's a Prince album out there that's ready that nobody's heard. You know what I'm saying? And
right.
then,
And I think, you know, I think that was when I guess maybe the vault kind of became a reality. Okay. Listen. Yeah, it became a reality where I remember reading like back in '86 that of course they did the transcript in what was it, Rock and Soul, Right On magazine, with the Electrifying Mojo.
Yeah.
And he mentioned then, like, oh yeah, I got this vault and I got 320 songs in the vault. It was
like
300. Dang.
Yeah.
You know, never heard anything like that before. Of course, later now, you know, Stevie Wonder, Tupac.
Yeah, everyone has something.
Right. Yeah. But that was the first time hearing it. But with the way, here's an album that was due to come out, it was pressed and everything. And then all of a sudden it's like, nope, changed my mind. I'm not gonna put it out. Like I remember reading back when it was called the Funk Bible.
The Funk Box, yep.
Yeah. I was like, oh.
Yeah. And you know what's crazy is that album introduced the term for like, that's when the word bootleg became, you know, kind of synonymous with you know, like unofficial Prince stuff, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like floating out there. Like that's when you kind of like, oh, like this is out there. And it was like, you know, like once you got the Black Album, like whether you got it like a vinyl pressing, because I got a vinyl pressing or a cassette, you know what I'm saying, or a copy or whatever, that led you to that Pandora's box of, well, like, you know, there's more.
Yeah.
There is.
Oh, dude, I can tell you. 1990. Bought a copy of Spin Magazine. I think I told this one before, but yeah, bought a copy of Spin Magazine. And like in the back, you know how they had like the little classifieds in the back? And it just caught my eye, like Prince fanzine. And I think it might have been for Uptown. I was like, huh, Prince fan. Okay, let me see what's up with this. Let me check it out. So I sent away for it, you know, like they said, catalog or something. Sent away for the issue. Well, I didn't get the issue. What I got was like about 5 or 6 Xerox pages. I'll never forget, stapled together. And like 4 of those pages, no, maybe 3 of those pages was like, you know, Purple Rain outtakes. Parade outtakes.
Okay. Like, what?
Like, the hell is this?
Yeah, like these exist.
What's this?
Yep.
And then like maybe the last 2 pages had like some, you know, newspaper cutouts and magazine cutouts, you know, about stuff that was going on with Prince at the time. But it was like, yeah, you could send away, because like it would have, you know, Purple Rain outtakes, $10.
Okay. Yeah. Yep.
$10. I was like, okay, should I spend my money on this?
Yeah.
Okay, well, I'll tell you what, I'm gonna order 1 cassette.
Yeah.
You know, it's gonna be $10. I just lose $10. Hey, you know, no big deal. So sent away for it, got it, and yeah, that was my gateway into the bootlegs.
That's your gateway. You know, it's funny, man. My gateway was speaking of Love Sexy and that whole era was the first was the Black Album. You know, got that, got a cassette copy, you know, like someone made me a copy on a cassette, and then I got like the actual vinyl pressing. And then about a year later, kind of like you, like kind of like 1990, fall 90, like that winter, I got an audio of like a Love Sexy show live. You know, like the infamous Germany show. It was like the infamous Germany. I got that on, you know, and I remember, and it's ironic that those 2 were my first 2, like, you know, forays into the bootleg arena. And like, I just remember thinking like, you know, like, wow, there's more. It's like, it's like, man, like this stuff is out there. Yeah, it was just, it's out there. Like, okay. And so like, that was, you know, take this magical journey.
Yep. Yeah. So that's a history. And if before then, I think the #1 most bootlegged artist before Prince was like Bob Dylan or something like that.
Oh, really? Okay. Yeah. Well, like I knew probably by like summer '93, I had gone into the spot in say Atlanta, man, and they had like 7 hours, just like, yeah, they had like 1999 controversy, all types of stuff.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, like this is, and I think by that point, like Uptown was a thing.
Yeah.
You know,
Uptown and Controversy magazine.
Yep. And I remember in one of the early issues of Uptown I got, it had like a listing of bootlegs that was out and the titles of what was on them.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And like I remember just thinking like, man, like wow, like this is, I mean, you know, it went from like less than maybe 3 years ago, like, I mean, none of this was unheard of. Like you never knew it was there. And then all of a sudden now it's like all this stuff and you're just like, where are they getting this from? It's
right.
Like,
and now it's like speaking another language amongst, you know,
yeah,
amongst the Prince musical singularity.
Yeah.
You know, yeah, Detroit, 1986.
Yeah. Yeah, like I remember when you know the litmus test, so to be, for your Prince fandom was if you had the family album. Like that was, that was like you're like, you're a Prince fan. Oh yes, you got the family. Like yeah, oh bet, okay. Yeah. It's just, you know, and then and then it went from that to like, okay, like you're okay, like you're a Prince fan. Yeah, like have you heard the Black Album? Oh yeah, I got that. Like oh what? Okay. It just kept going and going.
Growing and growing.
Yep.
Yeah, like I said, now it's its own language.
It is, isn't it?
Yeah. All right. So, yeah. So definitely pick up this book, paperback edition.
Definitely pick that up.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
Yeah. And let's see, I guess we'll move on to the next topic.
Mhm.
Oh, I forgot to mention. Yeah. So don't forget Dwayne Tudor. Well, forward by Elton John, but it's Prince and the Parade and Sign of the Times era studio sessions, 1985 and 1986. All right, now we can move on to the next topic.
All right.
Well, wait a minute. Let me see, make sure I got the right notes. Yep. So the next topic is going to be what we don't know about the Netflix documentary. So we know that there's been a Prince documentary, which is, I guess, financed, produced, or that will actually be on the Netflix streaming service.
Mhm.
We have no official date, no trailer, very few words from the estate. A few participants: Cat Glover, Jill Jones,
Yeah.
Alan Leeds.
Okay.
You know, some of the usual suspects.
Yeah. Yeah.
They will be part of this documentary, but again, we don't know when it's coming out. We don't know what's going to be in it.
Well, I'll say this. I know for me personally, the more I don't know, the better.
Okay.
And I say that to say, you know, having finished watching the I know the Lakers documentary on Hulu, which was 10 episodes.
Mm-hmm.
I thought it was nicely done. You know, if you're not a Lakers fan or like a basketball fan, but you were to watch this, you'd have a different appreciation of, say, the Lakers as an organization, you know, team-wise and all that type of stuff. Given how they did the I think the National Geographic say Aretha Franklin series, where they did the drama series. It was like 8 episodes or something, you know.
Okay.
And given the the fantastic YouTube series at Once Upon a Time in Minneapolis.
Yeah, I've seen a couple of those.
Those are fantastic. I say all those to say that, if I have anything to be concerned about, if this documentary is not in episodes, then I would be disappointed.
Yeah.
That would be my biggest, like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? Just because each one of those covered like multiple decades, and especially with this YouTube series, like Once Upon a Time in Minneapolis, man, whomever is say behind that, they do a fantastic job.
Yeah.
They've done, like, even if we don't get the Netflix documentary, like, that's out there, and that's, like, that's enough, to where you can point people to and be like, hey, look, like, you want to, really know, about Prince as, artist, now they watch this series,
Okay.
And so like they've done a great job. And so hopefully, man, a documentary is along those lines. Hopefully, we haven't heard a lot about it because people are still like participating and they're still doing stuff. And so, like, that's why I say, man, the less I know, the better. Because I'd rather just kind of get like, hey, it's coming out this date, tune in, and kind of, just, to pop some popcorn and say, okay, look, let's see what this is about, binge watch and, kind of see what it is. Because, I'm kind of past the age of wanting spoilers. I'd rather just kind of get it as it comes. But, I think for me, the biggest, if there was a disappointment or like a letdown, it would be if they say, oh yeah, it's 3 hours. I'd be like, man, you could do 3 hours on Purple Rain alone.
Yeah.
So hopefully, I just hope, you know, that my wish is that they have it like in episodes, you know, however many that may be, or, you know, so whatever they're doing, but hopefully it's, you know, it's kind of done like that. So it covers at least enough, you
Right.
know. You know, what
Yeah.
about you?
Oh yeah. Well, you know, this is my most anticipated Prince project.
Okay.
I say, you know, above right now, above any super deluxe
Mm-hmm.
that would drop, any unreleased album, DVD, just really the kind of the build up that started with, you know, what was going down with Cat Glover. Because
Okay.
one minute she was, you know, exiting the project because, you know, she didn't like how, I guess, the producers were approaching her with certain topics.
Mm-hmm.
And then you had on the opposite side, you had like Jill Jones, and I forget, was one other person, you know, highly respected, you know, member of the Prince camp.
Okay.
You know, they had pleasant experiences.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then the final thing was, I think, Alan Leeds, when they interviewed him.
Okay. Yeah.
And of course, he couldn't give a lot away. And of course, he didn't know what the release date, but he kind of guessed it would be sometime in 2023.
Okay. Yeah.
But, you know, from what he could speak on, he had a pleasant experience.
Okay.
And I mean, they did kind of make up with Kat, and I think she did manage to come back and participate in it.
Yeah.
So, you know, based on that, that kind of raised my excitement level.
Yeah.
And then you start hearing these rumors about they have exclusive footage, you know, they've seen everything in the vault, rumors about how things can't come out because, you know, until this documentary airs,
Mm.
you know, they kind of want to keep some of that footage exclusive.
Exclusive. Okay. Okay. Yeah.
You know,
Man, so you know, that's you know, I think for us, um, you know, and like I hate comparisons, but you know, sometimes you have to make them to kind of give kind of like perspective. I think in this thing, you know, like one of the biggest you know, like I remember years ago, the the Miles Davis documentary, Birth of
yeah,
the Cool came out.
yes,
And like everybody was waiting. It was like great. And it was like, you know, I just remember watching it and thinking, like, man, they still left a lot out, you know. You know, and it was kind of like, but you know, I understand, you know, so with certain movies, you know, they want you to keep it at a certain time, you know, things like that. Especially if you're getting funding and all that. And so, you know, with the Cat Glover piece, you know, given Prince's history, you're gonna have some people that's probably, you know, go feel a certain kind of way. You know,
yeah,
not everybody's gonna have an Alan Leeds experience or, you know, like a Jill experience, you
exactly.
know. And so, you know, I know for the production side, you know, I hope they know that going in and you know, kind of have, they say the mindset, well, you know, like we still go press on. You know, because I mean, say, you know, man, some people just, I mean, say, you know, I mean, you know, like we would like to think that it was all roses and this, you know what I'm saying? You know, or like a certain way. But for some people, it may not have been. And that's just the reality of it.
Yeah,
And so, you know, you would hope that they would speak, you know, positively, you know, about, you know, their times they were having. But if they don't, then that's honest, you know,
yeah,
and you can accept it as that. But you know, I don't think, you know, you should sacrifice a project because, you know, a person or certain people um, you know, feel a certain kind of way, you know, because you know, you can't be, I mean, you can't make everybody happy,
right.
you know. And so, you know, I don't know what her gripe was, you know, it could be legitimate, you know, I don't know, you
I
know.
believe so. I think what she did speak on about it, yeah,
Okay.
you know, I support her. You know, I didn't have a problem with it because what I would want out of this documentary is a balanced perspective.
Right. Yeah,
You
most
know,
definitely.
focus on the music, focus on his career. You know, of course, there's going to be some dark sides. There's going to be some low points. that, you know, you would have to address it. You know, he's still a human being.
Right.
And that's really the thing. Let's get to the heart of him as a human being, as well as this great artist. Now, I
Yeah.
don't think that we'll come out of it knowing everything about it.
Mm-hmm.
But like I said, if we can relate to him on a human level, then I think
Yeah,
we would, you know.
Yeah, then you've accomplished a great deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, most definitely.
And I mean, they got Ezra Elderman that's directing it.
Okay. Yeah, because I mean, you know, last, like, I kind of remember they, like, Ava DuVernay was doing it and she stepped away, and some other, you know, because some people were upset about that. They thought she was too woke, she was too, you know, I guess whatever gripe that they had. You know, I know some people were for her doing it, some people weren't, you know. But I was just glad that they kept moving with the project forward. And then again, say, you know, like, I don't, you know, I'm not, it's on my radar, but it's not on my radar to keep getting updates. I'm kind of just like, is there a release date? Bet. Okay, you know.
Yeah.
You know, like when that comes, I'm like, okay, good. I'll, you know, set the calendar for it. And then when it comes, I'll just take a couple of days where, look, don't bother me.
Oh yeah. Yeah. We're gonna kind of step up the technology on this program.
Okay. Okay.
And we're gonna start doing some spoiler reviews and
Bet. Okay. All right.
definitely do that. Like I said, you know, it's because I don't think we've had anything like this for Prince. Maybe the closest maybe would have been that little sizzle reel that Albert McNolly did back in, was that 89, 90?
Oh yeah, well, you know, yeah, I think, what was that? Shoot, maybe closer than that, probably be that Purple Rain documentary. You remember back in like 93, I think it came out. You know, the BBC documentary Purple Rain.
Now I know what you're
I know the Omnibus, I think that's it, or
yes,
something like
yes,
that.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I still got that on VHS somewhere.
Yeah, yeah. You know, and I'll be honest with you, like, at the time they came out, at the time I saw it, I thought that was like the best thing in the world. I was like, oh, this is dope. You know, like, oh, this is fantastic. You know, and even then, it was like, you know, it didn't cover you know, it didn't go in depth with everything, but it covered enough where you were like, oh, okay, bet. You know?
And then they had all that footage that never, at the time, never before seen footage.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
I mean, man, dude, I just kept watching that,
Yeah. Yeah. So that was definitely one where, like, after you watched it the first time, you're like, okay, I gotta watch that again. Or like, call somebody, yo, man, you gotta come see this, man. You gotta come see it, you know.
Yeah, you're right. Let's see, 93, 94. And I think that's the same time that was that the 3 Chains of Gold dropped.
Yeah.
So it was like that, kind of like that double, like, you know, that was like, man, this is Prince summer, Prince year.
Yep.
Omnibus special on BBC. You got the 3 Chains of Gold, and then let's see. Well, then that's after that was the name change. But then you had the hits.
Yeah.
1 and 2 dropping. But yeah, but but like I said, I've seen a lot of different documentaries. You know, some were those kind of like 8-part things, like whatever, Beatles anthology.
Yep. Yeah.
Like I said, Lakers. There's one on Hulu I got to get around to checking out.
Yeah,
I think it's called Legacy or something like that.
Yeah. So that's what I was talking about. That was actually really good. Yeah.
See, I still got to check that out.
Okay.
Ezra Elderman. I did see most of OJ Made in America.
Yeah, I saw all of that. That was great too.
Yeah.
You know, so, you know, that was kind of when they said Ava wasn't doing it and he was doing it, and then they gave his credentials. I said, well, he did a fantastic job with the OJ thing. So I was like, you know, so at least I kind of have an idea of the level of standard.
Right.
I know, like, to expect with that. So so that was promising.
Yeah. So hopefully it'll be an 8-part, 9-part documentary.
Maybe 10. Let's shoot for 10.
Shoot for 10. Okay. Yep. 10.
Yeah.
Each one like an hour, hour and a half,
Yeah.
2 hours.
I mean, it gotta be. Yeah,
Yeah.
at least. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
at least
do that. I want the 3-disc soundtrack.
Yeah. That'd be interesting if they do that with that, like how they would do that, the soundtrack for that.
I hope so. I mean, you can't just do the documentary and not have something to go with it. Now, what I've been hearing lately is that they kind of did this really without, but then I don't know if we're talking about like the current regime with the Prince Estate versus who was running it before.
Okay.
But there's things where they didn't have the full input that they should have. Little rumblings about they definitely didn't get the money they should have gotten.
Yeah, okay. Yes. Yeah, see, man, you know, like that's the I guess the frustrating part about being a fan doing all of this is that, you know, like you hear about these projects and you're like, oh man, I can't wait. And then you hear about these potholes.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Potholes
hey,
in my lawn.
yeah. I was just thinking that. I was like, soon as, you know, man, you got these potholes where like you gotta deal with this, you gotta deal with that, and it's like, you know, come on, people, work together for the bigger picture here. You know,
Right.
we just all operate towards the same goal. We're on the same team. You know,
Right.
we want
Come on, hugs, everybody.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Like, come on, look, we're all on the same team here.
Right.
You know, we're trying to go for the same thing, you know, like let's make this work. And it just seems like, you know, it's like, you know, when you hear those stories, you just kind of want to, oh, not again. Not again.
We just want to see the documentary. We just
yeah, just like, come on, people, come on. But I hope they get it together, man. Or like I hope they got it together, you know, because I know you know, it's just a legality of everything, man. Like everybody kind of wants to, you know, have their hand and make sure, you know, people getting paid or, you know, these type things, man.
Right.
And so, I mean, you know, that's, I mean, again, you know, you kind of just want to be like, listen, you know, what's your end game here? Because we're trying to get, you know, if this is the end game and to kind of get this out and preserve the legacy and whatnot, then let's work towards that.
Right.
We'll figure out all the other stuff. But let's, you know, at least get this part done. So
right. Yeah, because I mean, you know, you got people out here that's willing to support.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think if you ask any fan, I mean, see, you know, they don't care about, I mean, you know, they would just want to be done too. Like, yo, can we just get it done?
Yep.
You know what I'm saying? Like, we don't need all that, you know, just get it done, like make it work, you know?
Yeah, I mean, that's like I said, that's why it's my most anticipated project, because it's one of those things that, yeah, this is a story that needs to be told. This is, you know, something that, you know, hopefully will protect the legacy.
Yeah. And I will say this. I mean, you know, if they're taking a long time to make sure it's done right, then I'm all for that.
All for it, yes.
You know what I'm saying? I'm definitely here to take all the time that you need. You know, of course, that'd be frustrating, but in the end, I'd rather have a, you know, quality product to say, hey, yeah, like this is dope, you know, than somebody like, man, they rushed with this thing. This one's whack.
Now that's the thing too. So, you know, there's that possibility. It, you know, it could come off, you know, pretty bad. I mean, I saw that TMZ thing. And,
oh, well, you brave soul. I didn't click that. Well,
I know. I kind of would, because originally if we were going to do an episode, it was going to be kind of like a spoiler review of that. And I was going to be like, well, you know, even if it's, you know, even if they like trashing them, you know, it's the thing where like, okay, well, we're going to give the balance point, you know, we're going to tell, you know, the truth and, you know, protect his honor, protect the legacy. Yeah.
Man, say, you know, shout out to Tubi streaming services, man. They I was on there a couple of times and they got some Prince docs, man. You know, say the best one on there is Slave to the Rhythm.
Yeah.
You know, but the others, when I went to them, and I saw the description. It was like, you know, like an hour, 45 minutes. I was just like, nope, I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it. I'm not gonna do it, man.
I know it was kind of like I say, okay, I'm gonna bring you on for that episode.
Yeah,
Kind of like you went ghost.
It was like, man, you
I
know,
felt like Nick Fury.
nah, hey man, but one of those, I think one of those docs is titled Prince's Last 24 Hours or something.
Oh yeah,
whatever, man. And I mean, hey, listen, I ain't mad at nobody. I'm trying to make money or trying, you know, like do what they do, you know. But I know for me and just my space, I was just like, nah, I'm not.
Yeah, and it's true. It's some things. It's kind of like, yeah, you don't want to give it any kind of energy.
Yeah, and yeah, like some of those are just kind of, I could just look at them and like, nah, man. I mean, so I'm not gonna, because some of them I think I've seen on, you know, scrolling through and they're like, what is this? I'm like, oh man, I'm not gonna watch it. You know, I could just tell by just a few minutes of seeing like who they were talking to and all this, like, yeah, I'm not gonna. But that Slave to the Rhythm was like, that was the fact that it was 3 hours and it was nicely done. I was like, okay, yeah, this is legit. But yeah, man. I mean, you know, but one thing about this, I can say about I know the Netflix doc, man. You know, like Prince fans are hard to please. You know what I'm saying? You know,
yeah,
it's always gonna be that contingent that's gonna find something wrong. You know, they didn't talk to Gail Chapman. You know what I'm saying? You know,
how come Model Neon ain't in the documentary?
Yeah, like say, you know, oh man, they didn't mention Billy Sparks. You know, Brown Mark didn't get no airtime, you know, or you know, something.
No, Brown Mark, no, Revolution gonna get some airtime.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. But see, you know, it's always gonna be something like Dez was left out. Dez should have got more air, you know, it's something, man. And so I mean, see, you know, and I can't say that they don't have a legitimate gripe, because who am I to say that? But I will say that, you know, sometimes when you got to just look for, you know, I guess the value of what you have in front of you. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And so, you know, if, you know, you can't appease everybody, but what say we can say is like, well, if they put out a product and it's at least good enough to say, you know what, they didn't include everything, but they had enough.
Right.
You know, then I'm good with that. I mean, so, you know, because even with, like, you know, like you mentioned Dwayne's books, you know, as good as they were, like there are people who are like, I wish they'd do a Dirty Mind book. It's like, yo, it's like the man just did two, you know what I'm saying? Like two extensive books.
Right.
Books, you know what I'm saying? And people like, yo, I wish you do this one. It's like,
but it's like, you know what? No, you go write that book then.
Yeah, exactly. Like, yeah, man, well, you can write it, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can go gather some people, you know, do the research and do all that.
Right.
You know? And yeah, you're right, man. Like that's you know, it's funny you say that, because that's what I'm kind of like, well, like, you know, you could do a film.
Yeah.
You know, so you don't like it, you know, you can do one.
Yeah. Yeah, that's true. I mean, sometimes with this show, it's kind of a thing like, oh man, they didn't talk about this. Well, you know what? I'm gonna talk about it.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, hey, look, you know, like you can do your own, you know, thing and talk about what you want to talk about.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's all, like I said, it's all positivity, you know.
Yeah.
Too much negativity going on in there. But yeah, like I said, I mean, it could go that direction, but I hope it comes out to where this is kind of the, you know, the top tier of music documentaries.
Yeah. Yes. I think that's what they're going for. Yeah. I mean, you know, I would, you know, given with the way, you know, like you've seen current music docs go now, you know what I'm saying? I would almost imagine that that's what they're going to do.
Yeah, they have to. They got to swing for the fences and make this one work for sure. So, but yeah, like I said, this is my most anticipated project. And like I said, I hope there's a soundtrack that comes with it.
That would be dope.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, at least if there is a soundtrack, at least an originals volume 2.
Yeah.
something, something that, not something that we have already, something that we don't have. Put it that way.
Yeah, like that was unexpected.
Yeah,
Original.
it was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It was, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that when that leaked that was coming out. I was like, it's the what?
Yeah. I mean,
because they leaked the cover first. And I'm thinking like, but they're gonna come out with an album of Dirty Mind outtakes. I was on board for. I was like, cool.
You like, gotcha.
But hey, the alternative wasn't disappointing, and it was like, oh, this is Prince singing the guide vocals, or this is the actual, track, and then he just had say more sing on top of it, or Apollonia Vanity sing on top of it. Okay, it's like nice.
I mean, again, so if back in the day that had been a bootleg, it would have been bought. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
If somebody would have came to you like, hey, look, I got this thing of Prince doing, like, oh, bet, okay. You know what I'm saying? So, and then again, like, I think all of us, being Prince fans, like we want everything. We want to hear every piece of music that he ever put to tape. You know what I'm saying? Good, bad, or indifferent. You know what I'm saying? Like we want to hear it. And so, it's just one of those things where it's like, oh, okay, like, I mean, I don't think anybody bought that anticipating, like an unreleased, songs type thing. Like I think people that kind of got it, like once you saw the songs, you was like, oh, okay,
Yeah. I saw the track list. I was like, yeah, okay. Like I said, it wasn't the Dirty Mind outtakes, but hey, I'll take this too.
Yeah, exactly. Yep.
And like I said, it didn't disappoint at all. To me, it was a step in the right direction.
I mean, I think if I had one disappointment, I probably was like, all right, if y'all got these, y'all got others.
Yeah.
So like what made you choose these songs over, what I'm saying, something else like A Million Miles or or like Screams of Passion or something, I mean, like that. Like, why did you have to put, some of these on there? Or like, why didn't you make it longer? But, if they're planning to say a volume 2, then that makes sense. But yeah.
I don't know. Hopefully we'll see.
Indeed.
Yeah.
What's next?
All right, what's next? So we got our purple pieces, and that's just little tidbits of things that have gone on during the week. Not a lot because the estate's been very, very quiet, but other things in the Prince world, there's the Susan Rogers interview on the Sunset Sound podcast.
Yeah, I haven't checked that out yet. I got to get around to that.
I watched maybe about 45 minutes to an hour.
Okay.
Yeah, and I recommend definitely check it out.
Okay.
Check it out. Of course, they're going to cover her years with Prince.
Oh, yeah.
But, she dropped some very interesting knowledge on like neuroscience and sound and, how things affect our brains.
Okay.
How our brains basically, kind of work in tandem with creativity to where, trying to think, I probably can't put it the way she did, but like for non-creative people, there's that part of the brain that's like, yeah, they can still be creative, but it's kind of like a cap. Like if they're focused on that one project, they'll just do that one project.
Gotcha.
But, people that are genuinely artists, it's something to where that never shuts off.
Gotcha.
It's like, in that constant state of coming up with something. It's like, okay, you might come up with a book one day, and then you might come up with an album the next day.
Yeah.
So,
man, see, I tend to, for us long-term Prince fans or long-term like Minneapolis fans, like we often associate Susan Rogers. Well, we always associate Susan Rogers with working with Prince, but she worked with Jesse too.
Yeah.
And so I'm always reminded, like, so whenever I see her on stuff, I'm like, yo, she did Jesse's stuff, because because I think she did all of Jesse's albums. Like now I think about it, at least I know she did maybe at least 2 or 3 of them out of the 4 he did. I know she may have done at least 2 of them.
I know, Every Shade of Love for sure.
Yeah,
it's a shout out in Love Struck.
Okay, yes, she sure does. Yeah. Yep.
Yeah. So now I
Exactly.
gotta- all right. Say 1 minute he's wearing glasses, or wasn't wearing glasses. Now he's wearing glasses.
Yeah, yeah.
That's because I had to break out these Jesse Johnson CDs and.
Oh man. You know what? I gotta get the first one on CD.
Yeah, me too. I used to have it. But yeah, that's a hard one to find now.
It is, man. So I got Shockadelica and Every Shade of Love. Yep. I
Yeah.
got both of those on CD.
But wait, hold up. I got. Dang.
I gotta get that too, man. I can't. I know that joint is like $4,000 now on
Yeah,
Amazon.
I got really lucky finding this one again.
Okay.
Yeah, it cut like about, I don't know, maybe 12, $15.
Okay. Yeah,
Yeah.
man. I always kick myself because I remember walking past it in Tower Records back in the day a couple of times because they wanted $20 for it.
Yeah, it's insane what they want for that.
And I was
Yeah.
like, nope, can't do it.
Nah. Yeah, 12 was like, I don't know, but I ain't gonna find it for $12 again.
Yeah. 12 I could have done.
Yeah.
I could have, I could have bit that. Like, all right, I'll just go and take this.
But yeah, I had to reintroduce this to the archives too.
Okay.
Yep, and then
Yeah, got that.
yeah.
Got that. Yep.
Yeah, I know we started talking about Susan Rogers, but this quickly turned into the Jesse Johnson segment.
Well, it's just a Susan Rogers, man, connection.
Oh yeah, well, listen, yeah, I was looking through these and it was like, looks like she just engineered on
Every Shade of Love.
right?
Yeah, so Jesse probably had the budget for it in.
Yeah,
yeah, but she said some very complimentary things about Jesse because she was saying that I think it was in that Wax Poetics Prince special that they did, and she was saying when she first started to work with Prince, she was at the house trying to set something up that Jesse was showing her how he liked the mics and all that type stuff, and she was saying he was a good friend.
yeah,
Stuff like that. And so I thought that was really cool.
oh yeah. She got a shout out.
Oh, did she?
On this one, yeah,
Okay.
but she didn't engineer it.
Yeah.
But you're right. I think, I don't know, that might be wrong, but I think when he bought the recording console from Prince, that she helped him connect everything.
Oh, set that up. Okay. Yeah. That sounds logical.
Yeah.
That
I think that, but
sounds very likely.
yeah.
I mean, considering that he was around and as close as he was, that would, I know if that were me, I'd be, hey, can you help me with this?
Yeah.
Being that she was around. So yeah. I could kind of see that happening.
Oh yeah. But definitely, if you get a chance, check out the YouTube, I guess, Sunset Sound podcast. Let me try to pull up the official name for it. Okay, so Sunset Sound Recordings is the name of the YouTube channel.
Okay.
Yeah, and yeah, they basically interview like all the, mostly the engineers, but mostly they do interview some Prince associated artists as well.
Okay.
And just their memories of recording in that studio. And it's still active. They still having people come in and book time.
Yeah, I'm just probably a tourist site now, I'm sure they got some tourists coming through. Hey, let us see.
Yeah, let's check it out. Yeah, I don't know. If I can get some purple croutons, I don't know. Maybe,
Yeah. Hey man, say, you know what? Hey, look, if I'm ever in that side of town,
yeah.
definitely worth, what can I come by and see? Definitely worth it.
Check it out.
Yeah.
Can't
say that I wouldn't do it.
record a note and record a note or two.
Yeah. Go in there and take some pictures.
Yeah. It's Legendary's place.
Yep.
Yeah, but Baumies, definitely check that out. I'm anxious to check out the rest of it. But I mean, you get some stories. Actually, Dwayne Tudhall is on that same
Oh,
program.
is it? Okay. Yes, I'm sure that's okay. Yeah, I'm sure that's pretty dope then.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's him, and I forget who the actual host of the show.
Okay.
But yeah, so I think he's interviewing Susan, but then you got Dwayne there for context
Gotcha.
as well.
Okay.
Because you're talking 30 some odd years.
Right.
But yeah, she's lots of information. She does kind of set the record straight on Manic Monday.
Okay. Oh, well, that's good. Man,
Yeah.
that's speaking of that, I don't want to go off on a tangent, but that's like probably the most one of the disheartening things since Prince's transition. Now you see people going for these grabs.
Right.
Or like these reaches, and you're like, and it's like it's messed up because I can't say there's nobody there like to dispute it, but you're kind of like, okay, are they gonna take the time to kind of be like, that ain't right? You know what I'm saying? So occasionally, like you have people like they'd be like, yeah, like that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying? But so I'm glad that she kind of set that straight, because it's some grabs now where you just kind of just like, really?
Yeah.
Like, you really, come on now, like you didn't have to say that. You could have just let it ride.
Right. It's like, nah, we did what you did.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Yo, like, play your position. You know what I'm saying? Yo, it's cool.
You got a lot of kick it.
Yeah, like we still love you. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it's all good. But let's put it this way: it's definitely a huge difference between inspiration and collaboration.
Oh man, most definitely, man.
Yeah.
That's I mean, and that's the that's the thing. I mean, of course, I always say in like the other podcasts, and we've been on, that Prince was not the immaculate conception of like a musician. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I mean, he drew from he drew from other people, like all of us. You know what I'm saying? And then there's a difference in like, well, I did that. You know what I'm saying? Compared to like, hey, play this way. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
That's a big difference.
Yeah.
And so and I'm not saying that some of these people aren't being truthful, because they may be. We'll never know. You know what I'm saying? But I think it's insulting for some of us fans, when like some of these reaches, we're just kind of like, you got to insult my intelligence. Just I mean, like you said, love you, just the way you are. Just like, play your position.
It's all good. We were there for that record. We were there for those, appearances and videos and films.
Yeah, and even, I mean, it's kind of like the whole that story of kind of like, Andre wrote "Do Me." You know what I'm saying? And people are like, no, he didn't. Yes, he did. No, he didn't. It's kind of like, okay, if he did, that's like one song out of a vast catalog.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Yes. It's like,
but the difference with that, dude does have like, 4, 5, 6 albums.
Yeah.
That he's done, so it's like, and it wasn't like, oh, I'm gonna take Prince to court. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he I mean, again, it could have been inspiration, I mean, he could have done something that could have inspired it. Like, I mean, those same chords, have they been used before, just differently.
Right.
So it's, but again, I mean, like, it's like, okay, I think, like when that kind of story first came up, people were like, nah. And it was like, okay, well, if he did, he did. You know what I'm saying? Like, all right.
Yeah, I know. I was kind of like in the early days, it was sort of like, yeah, come on, man. And then just kind of as the years went on, it was kind of like, well, yeah, okay, well, maybe that might have happened.
Yeah. I mean, okay.
But but to hear him in interviews, I think even before Prince's passing,
Yeah.
You know, where it's like, yeah, that happened, but you know, there's no ill will. You know, he's not
Yeah. Yeah.
on the girls. Like I said, he wasn't trying to take him to court while he was still here over it. It was just
Yeah. Yeah. Like he, like it wasn't a constant like reoccurrence. Well, I wrote this, right?
right.
I wrote this, right? And then even when you hear like, that demo version of Doobie, and you're like, oh, so that's what it was. And then you hear what it became, and you're just like, those are different.
Yeah.
So it's like, well, which one did you do? Did you do this one? And if that's the case, then well, okay,
yeah, you did that
one. Yeah,
but he changed it.
Yeah,
You from taking him to court.
Yeah, I mean, I think the one that we were familiar with is not the one that was originally done, so to say, back in 79,
Right.
78. So
right. Yep. So there it is. But yeah, like I said, she drops a lot of knowledge about, Prince's record. I mean, some of the stuff we've heard before, but
yeah,
like I said, it's good to see where you have somebody like that representing again the creative side and the musical side.
Well, man, like that's what we need. I know, as our colleague Seeley and McGinnis said, is that's I mean, there has to come a point where those of us who are knowledgeable of certain stuff, and we have to help protect the legacy too.
Yeah.
Man, and push back against, certain stuff like, like calling out, yeah, like that didn't happen. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Or like that's not right, or that wasn't, what it was. Because if not, man, like they'll tarnish my man's legacy. And then we'll be sitting around pissed, like, how come I didn't say anything back, when I could have said something.
So. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, that's why I'm glad, we got you here, Michael Dean, and,
all those cats,
Prince's friend, and Nisi, everybody, just kind of, lending that voice or lending that balanced perspective.
Yeah, most definitely.
And like I say, keep things from falling into the wrong hands.
Yeah, going to the dark side.
Yeah, we don't, they'll have Prince ending up like Beckworth Pass.
Yeah, man. Just on some, like, like they'll try to tarnish my man or kind of diminish, what he was as an artist and as a person. And you're like, nah, can't have that. Can't have that, because and even now, like sometimes I know you kind of see it, like, like they'll say, well, like Prince wasn't only multi-instrumentalist. Well, yeah, of course he wasn't, but
yeah,
at this level, at this level,
right? You had Stevie doing it.
Yeah, Paul McCartney and some other people, but at this level,
for this long,
so you got this, man. So you can't let people kind of like shortchange that,
right?
It's kind of like when, like, I saw it's like a thing, I forgot, it was something on Facebook, and it was like an article, and it was like top 5 guitar solos by Prince say you never heard. And out of the 5, 3 of them were like, like legit. It was like Alexa D. Perry.
Yeah.
It was like I'm Yours.
Okay. I think I did run across. Yeah, I'm Yours.
And then it was and then like the others were kind of like stuff like you were familiar with, and I was like, yeah, it would have been cool if they would have included like When I Lay My Hands on You instead of this tune. You know what I'm saying? Or cool if they would have had this. And so, like, you when you have those moments where you kind of got to be like, well, yeah, like, don't forget about this. Or like, when people talk about, you know, like Prince used a drum machine and this. I'm like, yeah, he did, but have you listened to Madhouse? You know, where did all the drum tracks first. Like those little instances, that people, that the average casual listener would know that it's
Right.
we like, hey, yeah, you got to throw these little things out there.
Right. Yeah. And then, or, like you were saying about the drum machine, same thing with the guitar pedals. You have cats out there. Oh yeah, he just used that pedal or he used that sound effect.
Yeah.
Like,
he's like, no, brother,
nah.
There's more to it than that.
More to it than that.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
He put in way beyond his 10,000 hours.
Oh man, yeah, easily. It's funny. When you look at like current stars like today, and you're like, you'll see them, like such and such was seen at the Lakers game, or they were seen coming out this club or seeing this, like back in the day, like we didn't have that. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like you see artists now, like you'll see them like such and such bought a chain and it was this much, or they bought this car and it was this, and you hear stories about, Prince early on, like as early as Dirty Mind buying like, home recording equipment. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Kind of knowing like, all right, well, I'm gonna save, some budget money and do this stuff here, and just kind of like work the craft. And so, and like when you hear these stories of, he kind of produced this and he can engineer like and do these things, you don't think about that's because when he could have been hanging out, with the A-listers, he was doing this.
Right.
Right. So, and that allowed him like to do that. So like when people hear about that, they don't really kind of grasp like, that's not something every artist can do because they don't.
Right. And at whatever age, 18, 19, 20,
like 24, 25, doing that stuff, man, just kind of like, instead of, I'm gonna be seen here with this person and this, I'm, working on, doing this and doing that and learning that, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Because, that's, and just to have that kind of foresight early,
Yeah.
to kind of do that was like, because I think Dirty Mind was all home demo,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Demos. So you're like, wow, that's kind of like, what 21-year-old artist now has that foresight. You know what I'm saying? You're kind of like do that. And it's like,
well, this is the thing they point out in that podcast. They point out like, yeah, okay, we can all do that in our rooms now, with the computers and everything. Right. But no, dude was doing that with analog equipment.
Yeah.
I remember like, dude,
reels.
Dude, it was like buying just a 4-track cassette. Set us back a minute. I mean, actually, me and Alex B had to, we literally split the money to buy one of those things.
Man, it's funny, like Jesse Johnson talks about saving up for one on the 1999 tour.
Yeah.
Like I would save my money for a 4-track. He was just like, what? Like, wow, you just didn't have it off rip? Like, man. But yeah, man, like, just, to kind of have that, because I think Ray Parker Jr. tells this story about they wanted him to do like the second Prince album. Summer Prince came out to talk to him. He just wanted to see his setup, like his home recording setup. He was like, yeah, I want what you got. And said like Ray Parker told him like, okay, he told him what he had and had his boy like hook him up, come back to Minneapolis and get him straight, man. And that was, just kind of have that, that like I'm gonna do this early. Or just have that business mindset. So like, all right, if I go here, Warner's just got to pay for it. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
But if I do this here and then take what I have and just, fine tune it up, that cuts down on the time and this, that, or whatever. So just, you know what I'm saying? Like that part of his artistry and being a person just doesn't get talked about or celebrated a lot.
Right.
When so you look in comparison, other artists at that age, like you said, like you see them at the game or they coming out of a club with some, bling on, or
Yeah, carrying
sunshine.
stacks of cash.
Yeah, like taking pictures with money and all that type of stuff. And he was putting all that back into his craft, and it paid off
Right.
like way more later over
Yeah.
time. You know what I'm
Over
saying?
time. Yeah.
Definitely, yeah. But I'm gonna definitely check that out.
Oh yeah, all means. Yep. So check that out. All right. So let's see. We're getting closer to the end. So we're gonna move on to the flashback segment. This week's flashback, for no apparent reason, just gonna focus on The Glamorous Life by Sheila E. Came out in 1984 and produced the big pop R&B hit, The Glamorous Life. And the album had a few other nuggets, like one of my favorites, Oliver's House.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see, The Noon Rendezvous. Shortberry Straw Cake.
Yeah.
Which,
man, so, I gotta be honest with you. I think out of all the Protege records, that one was, I just never really was over the top with that one. It really wasn't until, honestly, man, when Dwayne's first book came out, like the Purple Rain sessions, and then he talked about how they were recording that. And really, after I read that book, I had a whole different appreciation for everything from 84. You know what I mean? Purple Rain, Ice Cream Castles, Apple Onion 6, and Sheila E's. And so I listen to those now with a different sort of reverence. And so with that Sheila E record, because you had kind of told me before that we've been talking about this, I pulled it out and then I like listened to it, and I listen to it now more so I'm hearing more of him than I am of her. If that makes sense, you know what I'm saying? But just the whole kind of thing of just where he was and kind of doing that, kind of like come in the midst of doing that, he was doing like Ice Cream Castles and all these other things. And it's like, wow, like dude was really like feeling it, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Talk about in the zone. And, like you were saying earlier, how he was able to master that at such an early age.
Yeah.
But yeah, this 1984, that was like, I guess the beginning of him being, well, I take that back. Now, 82 with 1999, what time is it? Vanity 6. So this was the second zone. Because you had Ice Cream Castles, Apollonia 6. Yeah. The Family, Around the World in a Day. All of this was like between summer and winter of 1984.
Yeah, literally, it was. I'm literally a span of maybe 6 months.
Yeah,
a span of 6 months. Yeah, but I mean, like taking nothing from Sheila, and say, of course, man, we hear all the stories that it was Jill's record, it was, Vanity record, this first, and all that type stuff, man. I but like when I listen to it, or when I listen to it now, I'm hearing more of what he was doing. Than anything. And I'm like, wow, like, okay, like, and then, I guess I got to listen to that in like, like when you hear it, you're kind of say, okay, he was doing this, but this was, like these other things were going on as well.
Right.
And it's like, wow, that's kind of like, that's dope that, none of those really parallel in terms of sound, you know what I'm saying? Like, everything is kind of different. Like, it might be a riff or two here or there. You're like, okay, yeah, I hear that. You know what I'm saying? But yeah, man, Dwayne's book gave me a greater appreciation for that album, honestly. Because prior to that, I was like, okay, like I knew it was in the catalog and I knew, some stuff, but I wasn't that 100% sure about his involvement, in terms of doing everything, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
They kind of heard that, because like we all had heard that. It's like, okay, kind of like folklore, but now,
with
Dwayne's book and the studio session kind of saying this was done. It's like, oh, okay. So yeah.
I think, I'm trying to, because there's 1984 me that when all that stuff was, unfolding in real time. And I think really by that point, then we started to kind of realize that, oh, okay, Prince is doing everything on it. Because, you know, you kind of saw that by that point, once you saw produced by the Star Company, it was like, okay, Prince did it.
Yeah, kind of given, yeah,
Prince did it. But at the same time, like I remember seeing, I think it was the video I saw first. And it was just like, this person is associated with Prince. Oh, and
it was different.
And you know, and she'll admit herself at that time, you know, she wasn't a singer, you know, she wasn't like Shaka Khan, or she wasn't like Aretha Franklin. You know, this is Prince once again, you know, saying, oh, yeah, you could be out front. No, I just want to play the drums. Nope, you be out front. And it's like it was different. It wasn't your typical Minneapolis sound.
Right. No, it wasn't.
Record. You know, you had all these Latin influences come in, and you have somebody, like I said, maybe not the strongest voice, but she's mastering the percussion instruments.
Yeah.
And that was different. And it was just like, oh, okay. And I bought the album just on the strength of that.
Okay.
And granted, like I said, I do like Oliver's House. That would probably be like the next favorite. Noon Rendezvous would be like number 3. But to me, overall, the album itself, the material didn't match the Glamorous Life. Yeah, it was kind of, like you got the hit and you got some filler. Now, granted, it was some pretty strong filler in a lot of places.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, because that Shortberry Straw Cake, I remember when I heard that, I was like, yeah, that's definitely Minneapolis. Yeah, and I kind of always wondered why, you know, that wasn't a single, because I was like, I always thought that could have worked back in '84. You know what I'm saying? People would have definitely, you know, had she done a video just kind of doing instrumental type thing, like that would have worked. That would have worked for '84. You know what I'm saying?
It could have, kind of gone against like Art of Noise, gone up against them.
And so, but you're right. I mean, it's like you got that one song and then you got like the other stuff, and the other stuff is kind of like, but I know the hit is coming, you know, because I saw, because like when I went to the show for the Purple Rain show, it was like, you're doing all the other songs. I was like, okay, when's the hit coming? You know, it was like and you're right. Like when you heard it, you was like, that's definitely the strongest song on the album.
And like I said, you know, nothing against Sheila E, because like I said, we were drinking the purple Kool-Aid, so it was like, okay, bought that album, bought Romance 1600, bought the third one, and
I mean, you know, I was man, I was kind of naive in '84. I mean, you know, I just took it as if, you know, if you were playing an instrument in the video, I was just, okay, that's your band, bet. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah.
you know, like, okay. And so even though you know, and then later, like when I, you know, got the stuff and you read the credits, it's like, Prince really did that. You know, there's still some part of you like, okay, like, did he really do everything? You know what I'm saying? Like, you know, or like, was he just giving like direction? You know what I'm saying? You know, or like, was he like, okay, like this, okay, you know, like, was he like, well, the keyboard part goes like this, the bass part goes like this, you know, the guitar part goes like this, you know what I'm saying? I mean, you know, I mean, we just don't know, you know what I'm saying? And then when you get Dwayne's book, you're like, oh no, he was really,
he was.
It was like, I got this. I'm gonna play, and not just with that, but with like Ice Cream Castles. 46, and that's if you're like, wow, like, okay, like he really was like, I got it.
Never mind, I'll do it myself.
If you want something done right, do it yourself. Like, oh man, but you know, I mean, I guess in hindsight, man, it is a you know, like one of those pieces of like when I listen to stuff from '84, like, or like when I listen to Purple Rain, I almost have to kind of include like Ice Cream Castle. Apple 6 and that album, just kind of like taking the whole era type deal.
Yeah.
So
yeah. And it is, it is really good to listen to. Like I said,
it is. I think all of that stuff, when you know the context of it and then how it was done, you listen differently, like, okay,
yeah,
it's cool.
Oh yeah. So I think it was reissued on vinyl.
Oh, was it?
About maybe 2 or 3 years ago.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, I mean, it wasn't remastered or anything, I don't think.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
But they did reissue that. They didn't reissue any of her other ones, but
yeah, okay.
I don't know if that's with the estate and how they've been with everything.
Man, I think it probably was, because I remember there was a comment from somebody from the estate where they were like, the side project stuff is not a priority right now or something. And I think I remember seeing that and being very, disheartened with that. Like, come on, man. But it's a business, and I understand.
Yeah, it's show business, not friend business.
Yeah. Like Billy Sparks. Okay, this is a business. You ain't too far going to snatch it.
If we need Michael Dean with the sampler.
Yeah. Yeah, where's Michael Dean? We need this a business.
You ain't too far gone to see that.
Yeah. Oh man.
Yeah, but yes, but yeah, like I said, it's I go back to it every now and then. And,
yeah.
And I say it's worth checking out. I mean, for the Glamorous Life is worth the price of the album alone.
Okay. Yeah.
And like I say, Oliver's House. I'll say, and again, no disrespect to Sheila E. Like I said, she did her thing on that album, and that is the album that put her on the map.
Yeah.
But you do have something like Oliver's House, which I guess finding this out later, you got Jill Jones on the backing vocals.
Yeah.
And it kind of, I think to me, that's what kind of augments that track. And then you got whatever Prince was doing underneath. And I guess, I don't know, was Sheila playing any kind of percussion or?
Yeah, she was doing that.
Drums on that too? Yeah.
Yeah, so, well, man, my thing is, and I said this maybe on the last thing that we did, like together, I think with D'Angela, if you really want to experience Prince, the artist in his totality, when you listen to certain albums of his, you have to include like whatever side projects he was going on at that time.
Yeah.
Because his artistry was in that too. And so, when you, say, well, I want to check him out, Purple Rain, well, you got to listen to the other stuff from 84, to kind of the whole like totality of what that vibe was and what he was on, you know what I'm saying? Because if you just when you just focus on his piece, then you lose, like you don't get the full picture of his artistry. You know what I'm saying? And so like this is just another example of his like diversity in terms of his artistry.
Yeah.
And it was cool because that album sounds nothing like Ice Cream Castle, and it sounds nothing like Apple 6. It definitely sounds nothing like Purple Rain. So
and I think again that's something that does set him apart from a lot of, even people that they hold up like a Frank Zappa or even George Clinton.
Yeah.
Because it's like, they're geniuses in their own right, and they create a tremendous body of work. But there's like a consistency in their sound, to where like you play that, it's like, okay, that was George Clinton. But then you play Bootsy and it's like, yep, well, George Clinton had a hand in that.
Yeah.
You play, Stevie Wonder, even when he produced other people, like, okay, Jermaine Jackson, let's get serious. It's still Stevie Wonder.
Yeah, like, yeah. I mean, it's funny you said it, because I've often wondered if you were to hear like The Time or Vanity 6 or Apples or whatever, or Sheila or whatever, and no one told you Prince was involved, would you know he was involved? You know what I mean?
Right.
You know, and I would think the answer would probably be no. Like you wouldn't say initially know that, you know.
Well, the first time album, actually first 2 time album.
Yeah.
Vanity 6. We didn't know. It was like,
yeah,
Jamie Starr, who's this dude?
yeah. I mean, you know, it took yeah, I mean, again, at that time I was like early middle school, 6th grade, something like that. I was kind of naive. Like I didn't put them, not initially, I didn't put it like together until they came, you know, they did a show in town. I was like, oh, it's like, okay, but you know, yeah, like, you know, had you told me, you know, and somebody probably may have said something, and I probably was just like, man, no, it's not. You know what I'm saying? Or like, who cares?
Right.
You know?
I just get whatever, took it, you know, at face value. Because I remember, you know, folks in high school, they were like, oh yeah, see, Morris and Andre, that's Prince's cousins.
Yeah, yep. Yep.
I was like,
the story back in the day that they were.
I just kind of like, okay, cool.
Yeah, because that was the story that they were cousins or brothers or something. And
right.
But even still, like I never heard, you know, even now, like, you know, like when you listen to like the What Time Is It album, like nothing on there sounds like 1999. Like nothing, you know, sounds like that. Like Vanity 6, like nothing sounds, you know, maybe a keyboard sound or patch or something, but everybody was kind of using, you know, certain stuff then. So, but nothing, like you said, like nothing, you know, like you're right. Like if you listen to Brides of Funkenstein, you'd be like, yeah, that's George. Yeah,
George Clinton.
Like, yeah, that's them. You know, P-Funk or something.
Marlette, yeah.
Like, yeah, that's them. You know, yeah, like, you know, that Let's Get Serious, that's like a good example, because when it first starts out, you're like, oh, good, and then it gets to the bridge, you're like, yeah, I hear you, Stevie. It's just, like, yeah, I got you. Exactly. Yep. That's man, very good point. But yeah. So, but yeah, man, you know, yeah, Glamorous Life is cool, man.
Yeah.
You know, it's cool. It's cool.
Yeah. So, like I say, if you haven't had a chance to check it out, give it a listen. It's on the streaming services. You can still find the vinyl. You can probably still find the CD somewhere. But yeah, definitely check it out. And you know, if you've seen Sheila E. performing, whether it's live or television appearance, and it's like, well, who's this person? And wow, she can really play drums. You know, check out Sign of the Times video. Check out that film.
Yep.
You know,
she got some reference points out there. Yep.
Yep. You know, she definitely, you know, a musician in her own right. But yeah, you know, but it started with that Glamorous Life album.
Yeah, it
so
did.
by all means, check it out. Check it out. All right, so yeah, we down to the final minute and a half. So we won't be able to squeeze the spotlight section in. I'll probably have you back on. And
oh man, I'd be glad to come back, man.
Yeah,
brother. Yeah, let me know.
Yeah, cool. So I mean, brother, where can we find you on social media?
I'm on Instagram, Footprints Cubase 4. You know, you can find me there. I'm kind of posting some every now and then or something like that.
Okay.
You know, I'm on Twitter, Footprints Music.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm around, you know, like everybody else, just basically, you know, man, just basically anticipating what the estate drops next.
All right, cool. And that's all music and
yeah.
Cool. All right. So yeah, definitely check out Mr. Ricky Wyatt and his various musical projects, and look forward to having you back on the show. And that's going to end this episode. And until then, create your day and create your life.
Amen.
Peace.
Well said. Peace.
Till the last band is done. Keep it purple, keep it on the wall.
bass to the last band with funk.